has put up. Rosa has put in the notes, and yes, we're recording this meeting for future reference for people who can't make it, want to view it or review it. And we have an agenda, and then there'll be an opportunity for Q&A for participants in this Zoom. And we'll just make note of when that will be open. And if you have any questions, raise your hand or put it in the chat box. Some people don't want to be visible when this is being recorded, so we respect that as well. So if you want us to ask a question for you, just type it in the chat box and we'll make sure that those are addressed. I'm gonna hand it back over to Rosa to tell what's going on next.
Yeah, and we also have Lauren here from the Basic Needs Center, and so she'll be giving a presentation as well, but we'll have Carlos kick us off.
So good evening, everyone. I'm glad that you were able to make a space in your time to join the ASUC Disabled Students Commission. As I probably mentioned already, I'm one of the co-chairs of the commission. And it is my pleasure to announce that we're hosting this town hall to allow you guys to voice your concerns and needs and how best we can amplify your voices as a commission at the ASUC level. Just a couple of updates on my part of what has the commission done in the past weeks, like after our last town halls. We're happy to say that although we couldn't get the mask mandate reinstated, we were able to do a quite big deal of like peer education on the importance to for them to keep wearing the mask, like to protect their immunocompromised high risk peers. So with the help of commission members Rosa Enriquez and Abby Fenton and specifically, we were able to create infographics on IG. I think there was 3 parts. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was 3 parts going over statistics, like tax and stuff on how the pandemic had impacted our most vulnerable, and it was based on our previous survey that we had collectively with the other ASUC offices co-created, and like they went super amazing. Like if I was wrong, like please correct me, Rosa, but I feel they were amazing in my opinion. Yeah, another big update of the commission is that we have started a big push at recruiting and retaining new commission members. Obviously, as you probably may know, our commission doesn't do the traditional app like other ASUC commissions. So our recruitment of new members really depend on the consistent tabling, and like we're happy that to say that we have recruiting new members due to the fact that they don't know that we even exist, but they are actually like discovering us and our mission, which I finally could appreciate that as um in my second year in the commission. So yeah, for those who are in the town hall, we would like to invite you to form part of the ASUC Disabled Students Commission, or check out other commissions and the ASUC, because yeah, we honestly need to amplify commissions in general within the ASUC, and like these commissions are powerful entities that focus on like specific like areas of concern in the student body. So yeah, do please get involved in our commission or any ASUC commission. Um, so yeah, I think those are the two main projects we've been embarking on this like round of like projects. So I'm going to pass it over to my commission member Rosa to take over.
Yeah, thanks, Carlos. I love hearing you speak. You always make me so inspired. So thank you for being here today on a busy day for you. And so I do want to pass it over to Lauren, who's going to be giving a presentation on the Basic Needs Center. I know it's a wonderful resource on campus, and want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to check it out and see if their services are of use. So I will hand it to you, Lauren.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rosa. First of all, thank you for allowing us the space to share the BNC with all of you. It's truly such a privilege to be here and to hear more about what you all are doing and the wonderful work that you are doing. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to share my screen real quick before we get started. And I know, Rosa, you mentioned we could have like a Q&A at some point. Is that still correct?
Yeah.
Okay, if there's time, I just want to let people know if they have questions, they can save them for that time, or feel free to message me in the chat. I can also leave my email address, and there's also plenty of contact information here, but just wanted to share that as well. So hello, everyone. My name is Lauren. I'm here with the Basic Needs Center. My pronouns are she, her. And for those of you who don't know, the Basic Needs Center is a research and resource center at UC Berkeley that aims to alleviate the basic needs, insecurity, and challenges that our campus community faces, as well as uplift belonging and justice within this community. So starting off where we are located, we can be just a little bit difficult to find because we're in sort of the basement of the MLK Student Union, but hopefully this visual gives you an idea of where we are. It's the lower level of the MLK Student Union, like I said, and it's B North Suite 72. Basically, you just enter this door indicated here in the picture and then turn to your left and it will take you there. So that's where we are on campus. And before we get started, it's very important to sort of establish what we mean by basic needs and how we're planning to address it and how we are currently addressing it right now. So when we're talking about basic needs, we're talking about the essential resources that impact one's health, belonging, persistence, and overall well-being. This is an ecosystem that we consider to include nutritious food, stable housing, hygiene, transportation, healthcare, mental wellness, financial sustainability, sleep, and emergency needs. We acknowledge that it is this ecosystem which impacts one's mental, emotional, and physical health, as well as one's academic performance, professional development, social relationships, and more. So we consider this to be a sort of large web of all of these different resources and all of these different ways that we're impacted by these things in our life and how it in turn affects other things like our relationships and our academic life and whatnot. So the Basic Needs Center is a values-driven organization. We have two key values here, belonging and justice. It is with these values in mind that we not only focus on essential short-term solutions to basic needs and security, but also researching long-term solutions that will reconstruct the basic needs culture for the entire UC Berkeley community. And this includes undergraduate students, graduate students, staff, postdocs, and faculty. Therefore, our mission is one that advocates for transformative basic needs justice within our campus community. So just kind of in sum, we're not only providing resources, we're also trying to create a new culture surrounding basic needs, not only on our campus, but more broadly speaking. So in order to look at the basic needs ecosystem, it's important to consider some of the structural drivers for basic needs and security. So from the economic side, there are issues with rising income inequality and cost of living, insufficient state and federal investment, and so forth. And of course, from the food aspect, there is limited access to affordable, healthy food. And at Berkeley, we face a huge issue with housing, given that we're the most expensive college town in the country. Which is pretty mind-blowing. And of course, finally, there is inadequate high school preparation for students as they transition from high school to college. For example, things like classes on financial management or nutritional literacy and other basic needs areas. This is an area that we're really, really passionate about transforming. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm realizing that I'm not even on slideshow mode, so please excuse that. Okay, here we go. So moving on to look at some of the data regarding student experience. So the data outlined here on this slide is a brief breakdown of the most recent data that has come out of the University of California undergraduate and graduate student experience survey. So according to the 2020 and 2021 data, 34% of undergraduates and 20% of graduate students at UC Berkeley experienced a level of food insecurity. And while the upside is that these percentages of those facing insecurity have decreased a bit since the 2018 survey, the data also reveals that those who are a part of multiple underrepresented communities are more likely to experience basic needs insecurity. For example, 51% of first-generation students experience a level of food insecurity, and these trends continue across the board for housing insecurity as well. So this information is crucial because it informs how we engage students seeking resources and allows us to hone in on the communities most in need of our services. And this really emphasizes our core values about how it's essential to note how this data manifests in a student's academic performance and overall completion, as well as their sense of belonging within our campus community and outside of that campus community as well. Okay, so moving into a conversation surrounding our resources specifically, we think it's first important to note the distinction between emergency and prevention services. So an emergency situation is one that requires immediate relief. So in this case, the resources that we would provide for an emergency situation are short-term prompt assistance to alleviate one's circumstance, while a prevention resource is one that is long-term support. And it's not tied to a specific sudden condition, it's ongoing support to support someone's basic needs. So it's really important to note that distinction because that is how we organize all of our resources, and happy to answer any questions about that. Okay, so starting off with the Holistic Fund, hence its fitting name, this is a holistically reaching resource for emergency financial assistance. and it aims to centralize where students go to access our resources. So this financial assistance could look like anything from rental assistance to food assistance, a housing security deposit, medical and mental health expense assistance, technology expense assistance, emergency needs for students with dependents, as well as a host of other emergency cost of living expenses. So an applicant will hear from one of our staff members in 3 to 5 business days to see if the holistic fund is best applied to their situation after they apply. So in this way, we do encourage people to consider the other resources that we do have available. We do have quite a bit, but we recognize that not every basic needs situation is going to be solved by the resources we currently provide, which is really the backbone behind this, this holistic fund. And all students, including graduate, undergraduate, withdrawn, and international students, are eligible to apply for this support. And being our most extensive resource, we recognize that there may be clarification points for how this works. So feel free to note any questions in the chat or private message me or however you would prefer. So moving into financial programs and services, in addition to the Holistic Fund, we offer financial services and financial aid counseling through our partnership with the Financial Aid and Scholarships Office. This counseling can guide students through their financial aid and finance related questions. We host a number of community partners, which I'll continue to talk about through this slide, and the hours for those resources can be found on our website. We also offer some food programs and services. So we'll start by highlighting CalFresh and Food Pantry. Some of you may have heard of either of these resources. They're pretty well known on our campus. So CalFresh is a state-funded food assistance program. It's formerly known as SNAP for just colloquial reasons. This is a preventative long-term food assistance program that provides eligible students with $250 a month for groceries. It's loaded on an EBT card that can be used at grocery stores and even some farmers markets, which is super exciting here in Berkeley. And we will soon highlight the eligibility requirements for CalFresh. But before we do so, we can also discuss the food pantry. So that is located here. So the food pantry is located on the upper level of the MLK Student Union. This is a short-term emergency food resource for students to access a plethora of wonderful produce and pasta and proteins and all kinds of foods. So students can come by once a week and take as much as they need whenever they need it, assuming that it is, or understanding that it is a shared resource. We just want to highlight that. And like I said, the distinction here is that CalFresh is considered a long-term prevention resource, while the food pantry is a short-term resource, or for those who are not eligible for CalFresh. So speaking of CalFresh eligibility, we have that lined out here. All of the qualifications are listed in this image, and this information can also be found on our website. Like I said, we offer the food pantry as a way to have a food resource for those who are not eligible for CalFresh. And we also have the emergency food award that students may qualify for if applying to the Holistic Fund. Okay, so 2 of our partners are the Food Justice Project and University Health Services. Respectively, these provide additional support. So through the Food Justice Project, folks can receive support in appealing a CalFresh benefits denial. And through UHS, students can receive a dietitian counseling and attend cooking demonstrations from time to time. And like I said, all of our community partnership hours can be located on our website. Okay, so moving into talking about our emergency housing, we want to first highlight that, hence the slide, this is emergency housing. This is what we offer at the moment, so that these are considered emergency resources. Our housing specific resources, like I said, are currently offered are emergency resources for students who are homeless or at imminent risk of losing their housing. This could look like anything from being in a housing situation with safety concerns to unforeseen housing disruptions, such as displacement and eviction. We encourage students facing emergency housing situations to complete our assistance form in order to be connected with our care team so that they can coordinate with them the most applicable services for their specific situation. We also have a community partnership with the Berkeley Rent Stabilization Board, which offers information and services regarding tenant rights. And like I said, this service can be found on our website for hours. Outside of providing emergency housing resources, the Basic Needs Center is engaged in research and advocacy efforts to change the housing landscape in Berkeley. Through our Housing Justice Hub, you can find out more about the movement we are a part of, in which we are centered on this idea of housing as a human right. And recognizing that health and wellness is a holistic and inclusive space, we are excited to share our community partnership with the Freedom Community Clinic. So for those of you who don't know, the Freedom Community Clinic offers services for students to meet with holistic healing practitioners, including herbalists, acupuncturists, massage therapists, nutritionists, among others. Additionally, as a part of our message of a holistic wellness, we recognize that physical health and mental health are deeply connected and equally valuable. So our partnership with UHS Let's Talk Counseling offers students the opportunity to meet with a mental health provider and get connected in a way that uplifts their mental wellness. As I've kept on saying, the hours for these community partnerships can be found on our website. So transitioning here to discuss education programs and services, we have something called Food for Thought. So these are 4-credit seminars, and they're focused on skills development related to basic needs, such as computer skills, emotional well-being, nutrition and food systems, pedagogy and public speaking, among other wonderful and really valuable topics for our students here. And we also have another 4-credit seminar called Personal Food Security and Wellness, where students can learn about nutritional eating with an emphasis on food budgeting. These seminars are a really great opportunity for students to make friends and develop basic needs skills, all while earning academic credit. So I think that these resources are not super well known, so it's pretty exciting to highlight these for all of you, that we do have classes here as well. And in addition to that, we want to highlight when someone may connect with the Basic Needs Center. So we encourage those who are experiencing basic needs insecurity themselves or know someone who is to explore the assistance form. After submitting the assistance form, a student will be contacted by our care team to discover the ways in which our center can best support a student's condition. We have some examples listed here that may be helpful in recognizing basic needs and security experienced by yourself or by those around you. Filling out the assistance form is a really important step to getting connected with the Basic Needs Center. So we ultimately just want to make sure that it's accessible to everyone. So that's why having this assistance form is really important to us. It's also essential to keep in mind that the basic needs and insecurities experienced by people in our community are not monolithic. Challenges in basic needs vary from person to person and therefore can look different from person to person. So we also uplift that one's challenges with basic needs cannot always be explicitly or overtly recognized. And this is why active listening and intentional care for all members of our community is really, really important. So we do have this resource cheat sheet that will be shared with you. This is basically just a really great breakdown of all of our resources. And it's also a clickable document. So you can click on anything here and it will take you to the necessary link. It also has information about our social media, as well as our website and where we are located on campus. So connecting with us, of course, I said that I would share some emails and contact information and whatnot. So feel free to make note of this now. These are kind of our general links of contact. And like I said, most certainly you can message me in the chat or save your questions for the Q&A. But really just want to highlight that it's such a pleasure, like I said, to be able to take this time and space to learn with all of you and to share these resources. Our inboxes are always open and we're really excited to extend ourselves to all communities on campus. So thank you so much for allowing the space to be here, and yeah, it's been so lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Fabrizio did put a question in the chat box during your presentation, and the question was, isn't there also a temporary emergency augmentation in place for CalFresh? I think it's like $95 more for the next few months. Do you know anything about that?
That's very possible. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't heard of that, but it's definitely something I can look into. If you'd like someone to share like their email with me, I can get that confirmed and then let you know. Fabrizio, I don't know if you'd like to private message me your email or something. I can check on that for you or anyone else who may be interested.
No,
If-
I do know it's in place. So I will say if we can just share the information with this community about how to access that.
Please, yes, thank you so much. Do you want to speak a little bit more about that, Fabrizio?
Yes, please do, Fab.
I will. So the government put in a temporary allocation for an emergency augmentation to have obviously larger funds for what was the cap before. I believe it's either 90 or 95. I can't remember what it is. But I will ask Kyoko or Saj or somebody from the Basic Needs Center to give me the exact information and make sure that I send it along to Rosa and others.
I can tell you that as a CalFresh recipient, I have a set amount and I am getting an additional $95 a month on top of my set amount.
Awesome.
But you do have to go through the application process.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to speak on that, but I'm so glad that folks in the community were able to. So thank you. Oh, I think we got another.
Yeah, we've got another question. Sorry, a student said, sorry if I missed this, but can students join drop-in services, example, Freedom Community Clinic, after submitting an assistance form?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. That's great. I'm so sorry for not clarifying that. The drop-in services are open to anyone. So basically, you can just go to our website and then we have this calendar under a tab called, I think it's just called drop-in services, that will show you when we're hosting these services every week. You don't have to fill out the assistance form, but if you're wondering which drop-in service might be most applicable to your situation, feel free to fill out the assistance form and our care team may point you in the direction of which drop-in service may be helpful for you, but you don't need to fill out the form if you would like to access some of those services.
Thank you. I have a question for you, Lauren, and thank you for a wealth of information. How long has the BNC been around?
That's such a great question. So we have kind of an interesting story. We opened right before COVID, basically. So it was like spring, summer 2019, I think. And then we were, of course, open in person for a year. And then we were virtual for, of course, 2020 and then a bit of 2021. And now we are sort of hybrid in-person space. Hopefully by fall, we'll be able to let folks in fully again. But yeah, we've been around for about 3 years.
Awesome, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Lauren? Okay, Rose is raising her hand, so go ahead.
Yeah, thanks again, Lauren. Fantastic. Really exciting to hear about all that. Like I had no idea there were the classes, and so great to know. I did have a question from a student that wasn't able to make it today, who was wondering if there's any discussion about having a satellite like pantry at the Disability Cultural Center, just for ease of access. So they're, just one-stop shop type of a situation. So just that was something a student wanted to bring up and see if there's any movement on that or if that could be a suggestion.
Thank you so much for that suggestion. I think that's an excellent idea. That's definitely something that I would love to share with our team, specifically our team with the food pantry. I'm personally not on that group, so I think connecting with our food pantry team would probably be the best. If you would like also to share that student's contact with me, I'd be happy to put them in contact with our food pantry team. I think it's a really fabulous idea. So it would be awesome to hopefully get the ball rolling with that. I think that would be great.
Okay, Fabrizio has his hand up. Go ahead, Fabrizio.
Yeah, I know, and just to add to what Lauren is saying, I know that the Basic Needs Center team is open to doing any sort of pop-up pantries wherever it makes sense. And I think the Cultural Center certainly does make sense. I think it's just a question of saying, of the conversation and what would it look like, how often, how many times a week, and what are the most common things that they should bring up in that pop-up pantry. But I think the answer is a yes. It's just a matter of what it looks like. And sorry, I'm answering Lauren. It's just because the Basic Needs Center reports to me, so I happen to be aware of some of the conversations.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much, Fabrizio. You know, I am a part of one team and I don't know everything that all the other teams are doing. So it's super exciting to hear about it. So thank you. I really appreciate your guidance with that.
And maybe a survey go out to the disabled students community who go to the cultural center, you know, asking what their needs might be, you know, incorporating them in the conversation as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
This
Thank
is great. Such a productive town hall. Getting stuff done.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Fabrizio, you need to show up more often.
Um,
I'm here.
No pressure. Does anybody else have any questions that they want to ask Lauren while we have her attention here and, you know, around this specific topic?
Lisa,
Hey, Carlos.
so I just wanted to comment on the food pantry idea. I think that first off, DSC will be open to collaborating with the Basic Needs Center, and like we could loop in and the UDCC coordinator to and that like a DCC, DSC, and Basic Needs Center collaboration.
Yeah. And Carlos, oh,
No, please go ahead, Rosa.
yeah, I think that's a great idea. I have a meeting with Anne this Friday, so we can kind of float the idea there. Yeah, that's exciting. Sorry, go ahead, Lauren.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that's a fantastic idea, and building a greater collaboration with you all would be awesome. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for coming, Lauren.
Yes.
Thank you. for having me.
Does anybody else have any more questions or any ideas around this topic? Don't be shy. If not, then we will go to our next portion, which is community updates, an opportunity for people who've shown up if they have any public comments or any issues that are pressing on their minds that they want to bring up. I mean, this is a safe space to do so. And then there is a little comment here, actually for you, Lauren. It says, what is the biggest misconception folks have about BNC?
That's a great question. I think probably from my experience, people think that the BNC is just the food pantry, which I think is probably because, like Fabrizio mentioned, I think in the chat, the food pantry existed before the Basic Needs Center did. So that's probably the biggest misconception, that they don't know that we have this host of other resources, and that actually the food pantry is a part of the BNC. So yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest one. That's a great question though.
So that reminded me of a question, Lauren. Do you know if there are other BNCs at other UCs, and do you have any relationships with them?
Yeah, so the BNC is actually a UC system-wide effort. So we have basic needs centers, I think, at every UC, and we do have communication with them. And actually, one of the people who helped found the UC Berkeley BNC, their name is Ruben, and they're very they're sort of involved in facilitating kind of coordination between all of those basic needs centers across the UC system. And I guess Fabrizio also said at every CSU. So that's also super exciting. I didn't know that.
Okay, I'm just looking if there's any other questions on this topic. Not trying to rush it. I mean, if you have any questions, you can still ask them later down the line. But if not, we're going to go on to, like I said, the next portion is community updates, public comments, and Q&A. There is a document that we can share here on the list of updated UC Berkeley DSP accommodations that we've been trying to get for a long time. And now we've got a list of what some of those accommodations look like for people that may not be aware, or if you have anything that you may get as an accommodation that you don't see on the list there, feel free to send it to Rosa, or you can send it to me. But Rosa's kind of the holder of all this knowledge. So yeah, so there's some thank yous regarding the wonderful questions, Lauren said, and yes, and for Fabrizio to help guide this conversation. Do you want to give any updates, Rosa?
Yes, I actually see, I saw Abby hop on, and I just wanted to give Abby a space to introduce herself as the co-chair.
Yes, Abby, please introduce yourself.
Okay, hello. Nice to meet you all. My name is Abby Fenton, I, she, her pronouns. And I'm the co-chair of the Disabled Students Commission. Just a little bit about me. I am a third-year legal studies major and disability studies minor. I proudly identify as disabled. I'm also white and queer, and I am excited to be able to be your chair of the commission, and really excited about some of the things I think that we're gonna share about soon. I assume that we haven't shared them already. Sorry, I just hopped on as soon as I could. So yeah, great to meet you all. And I also am like, would love to get to know you all personally. So if you ever want to like Zoom chat or in person hang out, just let me know. I can drop my email in the chat, and I'd love to get to know you and what you care about too.
Thank you, Abby. So since no one, well, do you have any updates, Rosa?
I mean, a lot of the other stuff we have are updates. So I guess one thing that's come up is the that needs to, you know, just be kept on the radar for next year is the Health Opportunity Fund. You know, there was some issues with DSP students not receiving any of the funding. So it looks like there was an issue in the workflow, and DSP students who are eligible to receive the $350 did not receive it. So that did start to be processed at the end of March. But like my last name is E, I got $14. Someone else that's K got $9. And so because the funds ran out, and so it's a, you know, it's a serious equity issue. I know we can't go back in time, but it's, you know, definitely something we want to make sure that there is something in place so that doesn't happen again. And, you know, also thinking about what is the process at DSP for when someone enrolls to make sure they get automatically added to that list. So that's just one update. I know I won't be a student here next year, but definitely an important piece to know. And if you got a random like amount from Berkeley into your account, that's what it was, because it didn't have a name or anything. It was just a deposit.
Can you explain what that fund was and
Yeah.
how it was applied for and who applied for it, and just so that we can just have a little background? I mean,
Yeah. So I'll put in the chat the Health Opportunity Fund. It provides funds to be used for university health services and prescriptions for Pell Grant and Dream Aid recipients, grad students with a FAFSA for the current year and have a Pell Grant equivalent eligibility, and are actively registered students in the Disabled Students Program. To be eligible, students must also be in good academic standing.
And
Uh,
was it DSP that applied for the fund, or is it just an automatic renewal? Or
So the way that it works with other centers that do it, and Fab will probably be able to jump in, but like, yeah, it's like kind of an seems like a system where they send the information to Central Campus. So it is, you know, a couple steps, but I'll hand it to Fab.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
so that, I'm sorry, Lisa, go ahead.
No, I was saying, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, it started a while back, and it started out as about $150 for any eligible low-income student. So at that point, it was EOP, Pell or Dream recipient. Then it expanded to graduate students, and then it was clear, maybe I want to say 3, 4, 5 years ago, that disabled students were not being fully equitably represented in the funding. And so we began searching for other pots of money. And more recently, I think we got some money through CACSIF, and that's why it was able to be expanded to up to $350 per eligible student that meets any of those criteria for anything related to UHS related costs. So medications, co-pays for counseling that are UHS related, et cetera, et cetera. And the money is available, I believe, until it's exhausted. So that's what they say, up to $350, because it could be that by the time you get towards the end of your $350, the entire pot might be gone. But it's seemingly been lasting pretty much the entire semester. So it seems like we're landing on an amount that is going to be sufficient for most students that need it.
So I have a question for you, Fabrizio. So the current amount is up to $350 per student. So if you have a student like Rosa or someone else that gets just a random $9, how is that figured? Just curious.
Yeah, and I think what Rosa was pointing to was there was some sort of mess up in the systems, because once we found out, once Rosa brought it to our attention, and Martha from DSP asked UHS what was going on with that, they were able to, I don't know what happened. I could find out what happened, but it doesn't make sense to your point. You know, it should have been the up to, unless the fund was exhausted, which it wasn't. So that doesn't make sense.
It would be great if you could look into it, just so that we can have best practices for the upcoming academic year, so that this doesn't happen again. I mean, not throwing blame or shade at anybody, but it's, you know, I know how valuable money is. Any little bit goes a long way, especially with gas prices as high as they are now. And we're seeing increase in food and whatnot. I mean, every penny counts. So yeah. We have someone that made a comment. Hi there, I was late to the town hall and have 2 students with disabilities who go to Cal. Are there any major updates to DSP I should be aware of? What I will say, Anna, is that this is being recorded and captioned. So we had Lauren do a presentation on the Basic Needs Center, which was a lot of valuable information that can be watched on the replay. But we haven't really talked about anything DSP specific, other that we've added a shareable list of DSP accommodations. And we have more to do in our town hall here that may be DSP related. But is there a specific question that you may have around DSP updates that maybe we could answer that? Okay, Fabrizio saying that 3 new specialists were hired recently and being trained. So that's an update. Anybody else want to give any update or shall we continue on? Okay, I don't see any other questions. So Rosa, and we can ask questions at the end, towards the end of this. We're going to save some time if there anything comes up that we haven't answered that we're able to answer. I'm going to hand it back over to Rosa to talk about gold folder on the agenda. So take it away, Rosa.
Awesome. All right, so gold folder. I'm going to put this in the chat. So the gold folder is to help faculty and staff recognize potential symptoms of distress and identify appropriate campus resources to refer students to. This has not been updated in a bit, so it does not include basic needs yet. So I've been talking with the Centers of Intervention, and we are going to be adding in some basic needs, and also wanted to look at the language in this. Also thinking about how this could potentially impact disabled students that may be having an exacerbation of their disability. And just generally wanted to share this resource, just so y'all know that it exists. This is something that is used quite frequently by faculty, which is why it seems like an easy place to start to integrate disability and basic needs into, since it is so widely used. Also going to be integrating feedback into their training that they have for different departments. Yeah, just wanted to share that with y'all. We're going to have a working session if anyone's interested to discuss more about this. We want this to be a collaborative effort at looking at what can be improved, what are some points that just maybe don't resonate well with the disabled community. So please take a peek at that. And then I put in the chat, if you're interested in a working session, there's a form. And yeah, just wanted to open it if anyone had some initial, if anyone had any questions. Yeah, or if Abby wanted to add anything that I may have missed.
I think you covered it mostly. I think we're also just concerned about how this is being used to target Black and Brown disabled students. So that's really something that we're going to be thinking about, especially students who are neurodiverse or with psych disabilities. So yeah, we welcome anyone who's interested in participating to join us, because we'd love to get as much input as possible.
Awesome. Well, if there is nothing on that, any questions, we'll move to the disabled graduate student fireside chat. Along with Will Carter of the Graduate Assembly, we've organized a closed meeting for disabled graduate students on May 11th with the Chancellor. We intentionally are making it closed just because we know how sensitive this is, talking about disability, especially as a graduate student. I think there's even more fear as a graduate student self-identifying. So, sorry, my cat. So we, and we can't necessarily we can't have every disabled graduate student there, but we want to try and capture as much as we can. So we have a lot of information from our surveys throughout the years that throughout the year that we've been sending out that really speak to some significant issues related to disabled graduate students, but we really want to work on that to make present the key points what we're doing now, what we would like to see, how those align with the 2030 goals that the UC has established. So on the notes document, there are some working sessions. So Thursday, April 14th and Wednesday, April 27th. Anyone can join in, share your pieces. And if you're interested in, joining the actual talk, we welcome that. Yeah, but really want it to be open. We have, a little over a month, so I think we have a good amount of time, but wanted to share that with everyone. And if you know any grad students or in your community, please share that with them as well. Any questions on the fireside chat? Cool. And I'm sorry, I see a question from Anna from earlier. Yes, I was wondering if there are any changes to the DSP system, such as accommodations or test proctoring that have been made. Know if any admin has anything to share on that front. As far as I know, I don't know of any. Carlos or Abby, if you have any updates.
As far as I know, there hasn't been any major updates. The only major updates I know since Anna, by the way, was a former DSC member, so so by far, I think the major updates that some people are qualified for the Zoom accommodation, and I don't know how they're going, but we did that since last semester. But does anyone, maybe my fellow commission members or any of the administrators want to chime in on that?
Thank you, Carlos. I do see Fabrizio said that he can make sure a DSP staff leader comes to these town halls in the future. That would be a great idea, because then we could field some questions and answers there. And Fabrizio also commented that the proctoring center is expanding hours very soon. And Anna sent a question to me. Has there been any changes to the system to accommodate students in the pandemic, or is everything the same? I don't think I can answer that question because I'm not in the system right now, but maybe Fabrizio or Rosa.
I actually have a question on that, because my accommodations don't list remote options. And I've followed up on this numerous times, but I definitely need that on my record for my workplace, in case that comes up. So I know there's probably a bit of a backlog, but in terms of updating the different types of accommodations we might be doing now. But I think that's a good point. I'm not sure. Just want to make sure that doesn't fall off the radar, because I know there are at least, I think, 60 people doing remote now. And then, way more than that are doing informal remote. But yeah, just wanted to bring that up.
Does anybody have a timeline of when a student requests accommodations to the timeline of when they actually get them? Because I know the pandemic has, created a backlog, but we're kind of we're not really coming out of it, but Does anybody have any idea of what the turnaround time is now? And Fabrizio, have you been looped into these issues that have been happening at DSP?
Yeah, I know that the wait times were super bad in last semester. And I know they're way better this semester now, whether they're where we need them to be at, I could check. I just, last I heard, I remember, well, I'll find out, but I know they're better, but I'm not saying that that's necessarily good enough.
Okay, and Rosa sent a thing that she messaged Julie about that, Rosa. There was a reason they had listed that. Let me see if I can find the email and can pass on that info. That would be great, Rosa. The more that we can share information, the better for everybody. And if it isn't all right, Fabrizio, I'm gonna throw another question at you here. So if remote access is an accommodation, shouldn't it be listed on their letters of accommodation? I mean, is there any legal reason or any reason why it's not?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, for the, and I think Rosa's right, is about 60 students that are officially have that accommodation. That in my understanding, that should be in the letter. But I can check with legal counsel and make sure that that's not the reason why it's not on there, if that's the case.
Okay, and Rosa just says, I can certainly send you or this is quotations, I think, from Julie to her. I can certainly send you a verification letter that speaks to the remote pieces for spring semester. Since this is something we are navigating individually with each semester in each course, it won't be something listed on our AIM portal at this time. Let me know if a general verification letter works for this purpose, or if I would need to work with your internship supervisor to help implement. So I know this was a job-related question, but isn't remote access also an academic accommodation? So wouldn't it, so it sounds like it's not even listed on the letters of accommodation.
It's not.
So when students have to go and negotiate, because it always is a negotiation with our professors, if it's not listed on there, there's got to be an addendum, but it would make life a lot easier if it could just be listed on the letter. And with this new software, I would think that they could add it in there.
I don't think it's them not wanting to do it. I think the vice chancellor and I can have a conversation with the vice provost of undergrad education and see what the issue is with that.
Okay, I see the vice chancellor giving a thumbs up. I mean, it just, obviously these letters of accommodation are administered every semester. So if it's something that's not allowed the following or not accommodated, it doesn't have to be added on future letters. Hopefully one day we don't have to deal with COVID anymore, but it seems like a simple fix. But yeah, if you could get back to us and let us know, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and I mean, I've talked to Ella Callow, ADA compliance officer, and remote accommodations have been, a thing since before the pandemic. So, it is something that UC Berkeley has done before. So I hope that could be updated. And on that note, as we're talking about DSP, I'm going to share the quick guide, but wondering, Fab and Danya, if there's been any movement to get this more formalized as a resource. I know it was something that we talked about in December, but I would, many departments have the, student services have this in their email signature. It's often referenced. It has become kind of a campus guide now, and it would be great to have that be an official resource. Ella Callow, again, ADA 504 officer, checked it. It's legally sound. We're not giving out incorrect information, but we knew in December it would have to go through some lawyers, which could take, into like February, March. So now that we're hitting April, just wanted to see where, if that's on the table, if that's something that we can push.
Yeah, we have regular meetings with some of the leaders, um, some of the cabinet leaders. So we can raise that up. The vice chancellor and I can raise that up and say, let's readdress this resource guide, because from what I've seen, it's also you're probably like 3 or 4 versions in from where it started. So it's much more developed and vetted, and like you're saying, it's being used everywhere. So what does it take to become an official campus resource, and um, not a community resource, which, not good or bad, it just is. So we'll definitely look into it and get back to you on that.
I have a
I
question.
also-
Does it have to go all the way up to UCOP in order to have formal?
No,
Okay,
that's not the issue with this. No.
well, that's good news. Less bureaucracy. Sorry, gotta have a little sense of humor with some of this stuff, right? Yeah, there was a lot of hard work put in by Rosa and Will and Carlos and Abby, and I just looked at it and gave my 2 cents too. But yeah, a lot of hard work put in by the disabled student community. So it'd be nice to see that it's being used. Just trying to see if there's any other questions. I know, no, I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, this is like obviously the perfect time and place to bring things up. And if not, just put it in the chat box and I'll make sure that it gets out there. Otherwise, if not, I'm going to let Rosa continue on with the rest of the agenda that has her name, and then Abby's going to be giving an update to you as well.
Yeah, Abby, do you want to share about the exciting new
Yeah.
initiative? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be sharing about Disability Beyond Compliance, which is a program that we are super excited about. In a nutshell, it's leveraging the lived experiences of disabled, chronically ill, and neurodiverse students to really push for a cultural improvement in the experience of disabled students. And we have at least $15,000 to be used by the next academic year that's would help to fund undergraduate work study students and graduate student researchers. And it's really like working on partnering with student development centers, cultural centers, campus departments, housing services, and trying to really fill the gaps and lack of knowledge about disability in these spaces, and trying to integrate disability into all spheres of campus. So this will look like doing some research about what are the current gaps, and also facilitating interactive workshops, and doing some consulting with different people who are looking for a disability perspective on the work that they're doing. Yeah, and working on different stakeholders for different policy recommendations to really help improve the climate here for our disabled, chronically ill, and neurodiverse communities. And that kind of some reasoning of why I think this is really important is obviously we are still facing a lot of issues with compliance with accommodations, but even if everyone in the room has all the accommodations and access that they need, there's still deeply rooted ableism on campus that continues to impact our disabled students substantially. And really, unless we're working on targeting the issue more broadly beyond compliance, beyond just accommodations, the experience of our disabled students is still going to be significantly impacted and affect the way that we engage on campus. So in terms of kind of where we are, or I guess a little bit more about the program, it's going to be held under the Disability Cultural Center, doing some administrative work around that, but otherwise it's a student-led program. Yeah, so if anyone is interested in joining us to help create more, we're really like building this program ourselves, and so it's a really exciting opportunity to help create the actual job descriptions, training and hiring. Just yeah. So if this makes you excited, we can, we have a Google form that you could same one as before that you can fill out and join us in this. I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Rosa.
Yeah, just we are working, we've met with some folks and Fab was there as well, that are part of the GSI Teaching Center, as well as a professor from Stanford, really looking at what universal design is. Yes, good and bad of it, right? So we take that with a grain of salt. But how do we, best integrate this with really coming from a trauma preventing place, and thinking about how do we really specify workshops for each different group on campus. So student facing, admin, faculty, and thinking about the ways they engage with disabled students and faculty and staff. I mean, I think that's the other piece of this is it's really broad. It's to really change the environment, it needs to be inclusive of everyone. About a third of faculty and staff identify as disabled. So this is, pervasive. It's not just the students that are being impacted. So we want to have that collaborative space. And we're also working closely with the Students Advocates Office. So they are also supporting us as we're doing the job descriptions and some of that. But really excited to hear if anyone wants to be part of this. Definitely look over our curriculum. We're going to be having a kind of like a pilot workshop with the School of Social Welfare in May. So yeah, it's very exciting, and we really welcome all feedback. This is a direct result of like our town halls and our surveys, and being able to put that information together. So we want to continue that to be a collaborative effort, to make sure we are addressing each piece of it. And in particular, we do want to focus on a disabled graduate student toolkit, just because there are not enough resources or centralized space for disabled grad students. So we really want to focus in on that. And that's where our GSRs will be doing a majority of their work, is really looking at those resources. How can our policy, our DSP accommodations be shifted to be more inclusive of graduate students? Because as of right now, most accommodations really only apply to undergrads. So thinking creatively about all of these topics is a key piece of this. So very exciting.
Yeah, I just wanted to also reiterate, or I guess highlight that we have funding for this. So this is not work that's just being done for free by students using our valuable knowledge. But we really wanted to make sure that people are being compensated for this. So yeah, that's something we're really excited about. And yeah, just wanted to reiterate.
Abby, you had mentioned that the grant was $15,000 and you needed to use it before the next academic year. So are you saying before fall 2022?
I believe it's the end of spring.
June 2023.
June 2020. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then students can fill out that survey so they can get in touch with you about showing interest in applying for positions and more information about it.
We're going to be finalizing, or going to be creating the information, the actual position. So once we have that information, we'll make sure to circulate it widely. Yeah. Or you could, if you add your name to this, you'll also be added to the information about it. So whatever avenue you would like to take.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions? So no questions. Any other updates, Rosa, Carlos, Abby, that we want to share? Because we've kind of gone through the agenda. And we also want to allow space for some Q&A at the end if anybody has any additional questions, next steps.
Yeah, I have a question for Vice Chancellor Diana Matos. So like, hi, Vice Chancellor, I just wanted to ask you, how has your office specifically have been fighting for a more streamlined version of disability justice on campus, whether it be like racial, gender identity, or other multiple intersecting like identities in general, because I I know the work that the Equity and Inclusion Division here on campus has done, but I I am curious of the work you have been advocating for when in regards to disabled students and equity and inclusion and intersectional issues.
Thank you for the question, Carlos, and thank you for everyone for making this possible and allowing me to join in. Apologies for being off video, navigating life and all of those things, and still want to be a part of it. So, Carlos, to your question, it really is something where disability and disability justice is not separate and apart, but really threaded into everything we do in our work when we think about diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice. And to the point about disability justice and taking it beyond compliance, but really focusing on the intersectionality of those identities. As you know, not one of us is any one singular thing. There are so many things on our journeys that come to us. And so what we've really been building it out is around thriving and what a thriving framework looks like and what does it mean to thrive at Berkeley with disability justice. As you know, I'm a legal scholar practitioner, so it's not justice in the legal sense because the law does not give us the anti-oppression work that we're looking for, right? So really taking it to those spaces, supporting, both the Disability Cultural Center, but also our work with the deans and cabinets and what we're framing as lateral engagement across all the work we do. So part of that is the critical inquiry, which is the purpose of education, right? So have you thought about this? What does it mean to serve communities the way they asked, right? And included them. And so really it's multi-pronged, multifaceted, but really coming at through this lens of intersectionality and Kimberly Crenshaw's work, not just having multiple identities, but what are the forms of oppression at play when you do hold sort of those multiple spaces, and frankly, knocking them down, right? So that we really create a space where everyone thrives.
And if I could add too, I think that we recently were given some feedback around the term thriving and how it might land for different communities. So I had some disability justice folks tell me thriving sounds exhausting. And so I was like, oh, wow, that's not what we mean by thriving. What we mean by thriving is contextual to the community, the person, and what they need. And so when I think about thriving, I think about the systems that we need to change and transform so that people don't feel exhausted. So that that when you're talking about accessing your health opportunity fund or your disability accommodations or the climate in the classroom, that those things that we're dealing with at scale to say, here's where we want you to go. And by the way, to Vice Chancellor Matos' point, helping the deans and chairs understand that they have a role in it too, that good enough and the way it's been has never been good enough for most of us. And we have to do something different.
Thank you. And
Yeah,
I just wanted just to say, I mean, the issue has been brought up so many times, especially around disability and accommodations, and that not to just look at just the bare minimum of, accommodations, resources, we want to have equal opportunities, just like the able-bodied students, and not just look at, okay, what is legal and take it down a notch.
yeah, and I just wanted to add a quick thing that usually driving in the disability community has been typically associated with is cognitive related word like grind culture or grind mentality, which is in the disabled community inherently ableist because like expecting us to grind as like in the limits like beyond our capacity like is like wrong. And I think like what Vice Chancellor Matos and Fabricio Mejia are offering us is like a new fresh definition of what thriving is. Thriving doesn't inherently like supposed to be ableist, like it's supposed to be empowering, and that's what I appreciate of the chancellors. Like, so thank you, chancellors.
I actually had another question for you, Vice Chancellor. I really appreciate your perspective and really trying to bring an intersectional approach to your work. And yeah, that you are noticing and caring about disability. I'm curious if there's specific programs or either that are going on right now or that you're looking to maybe do in the future that are kind of working towards that, yeah, something similar.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can start with the Building Belonging at Berkeley and Beyond series that we started, the B4. This semester, we're doing a topic on disability justice. So if we haven't connected already, please do. I know Karen's involved in my division is. So they just planned Centering Queerness is going to be April, and then Disability Justice is likely going to be May. So they might not have just reached out already. So I see the face nod. So I'll make sure that it's connected to you all, but really bringing in the local campus expertise. My intention around that is to create spaces for dialogue and critical consciousness through the work of Paulo Freire, who talks about that for this. So that's one specific example when we're doing it, but we're also integrating it into the various initiatives that the division is leading, right? From African-American, the work with the AAPI community, as well as the Latinx one, right? So really thinking about, it's not just a homogenous group, right? There's various intersectional means and things happening, in our campus-wide data. We see that largely a lot of our campus community, if they come in underrepresented, identify with the queer community, right? And so that's special for us to address on campus, right? On how we show up in that. So that's one specific example. Fab, do you have any others?
Yeah, I think the Vice Chancellor is right. So what we're saying is it's not good enough to think about disability justice on its own. Yes, we have to do that. And we have to ask that of every single initiative that we're doing. Where is the disability justice located in this initiative? So the example also is the Basic Needs Center. So when Lauren was talking about basic needs being contextual, we think about that from a disability lens as well. So what is it for you to have your basic needs met from where you sit and when what you need? And how do we evolve to make sure we meet those needs for every community?
Yeah, thank you. And I actually have connected about the Before series. We actually, when I had a meeting with them actually before spring break, and they had mentioned that it was going to be over summer for the disability justice one. And I'm not sure if that is still the case, but something that we were just concerned about of, especially with the timing be right after the school year ended, just worrying that unfortunately, like it really seems to portray the idea of disability kind of being an afterthought, unfortunately, of like not even making it in the academic year. And I'm sure not the intention of the event, and it's supposed to be uplifting. And I'm just concerned that the framing of it will detract to that, whether that be through just the, it being itself after the academic year has ended, or reduced attendance and engagement with the event. So I had sent a note over to, I'm blanking on who I spoke to, but I'm sending a note over to them. I believe I did so earlier today about that, but just wanted to raise that concern.
Thanks, Abby. This is the first I'm learning of that, and I agree with you that I wouldn't schedule it over the summer. So I will reach out. As you can imagine, staffing wise, we have about 5 vacancies in my office. So someone within the division is helping, but I will lift that up and either have it this semester or frankly, have it in the fall, because I agree that the summer should not be it. So I want to do disability justice. So I say we do, we really map that out. So thank you for letting me know. As you can imagine, I am not aware of everything that happens every single day, but happy to pivot. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
I second Abby's comments. This kind of stuff needs to happen during the regular academic year. Summer is kind of an afterthought. Well, we've got, is there anything else that you want to add, Rose? Okay, Rose has got more to add.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up, Danya. It's, it would be great. Yeah, I was thinking maybe fall, like if it can't be done in May, then maybe fall. Wanted to share that probably in June, we're thinking we'll be launching the Critical Social Justice podcast. And the first season is Critical Disability. And so we've had some wonderful folks that have been part of this. So Nate Tilton of the Disability Lab, also Dr. Nev Jones, who does a lot of work on psychiatric disability in academia. Also hoping to get some other folks in here. And it's just really exciting to be centering disability and really looking at it from a social welfare lens. We know how harmful social welfare can be, as well as how powerful and empowering it can be, but really taking that time to tease out these different forms of oppression and empowerment that happen within social welfare and how that relates to our practice and supporting our disabled communities. And we have like a summer of storytelling, which is going to be reaching out to folks that have been, our social workers, just to share, 15, 20 minutes of a day in their life, kind of what they're doing now. And okay, Katrina said, okay, and Judith Human is going to be on the podcast, which is really exciting. I'm so excited. I seriously didn't expect any of this to happen ever. And when I was told to leave the school in August, I never ever would have thought I'd be right here. So it's extremely exciting to be part of this initiative, and just want to give a shout out to my amazing supervisor, Chief Diversity Officer, Strategic Initiatives, Katrina Koski, who's here, and just, really pushing this forward, knowing how critically important it is to center these narratives, especially at this time. So very exciting. We'll always be sharing more, but it's wonderful to be a part of it.
That's amazing. Does anyone else have any updates that might be relevant to share with the group? Please don't be shy. Doesn't have to necessarily be specific disability related. It can be student related.
Yeah, actually, I'll just share, tomorrow is the graduate assembly meeting. So, we have public comment space. So if there are any questions I can raise or voice any concerns on y'all's behalf, that's my role as an alternate delegate. So happy to, if there's anything else that you feel like needs to be asked, please share.
Well, this might be a shorter meeting. Usually we run over. We have a lot to say. And thank you, Fabrizio and Danya, for being here, and Carlos, Rosa, and Abby for all the work that you do and for showing up. So we've been having these town halls once a month. So next month may be our last for the academic year. So stay tuned. We'll post it on social media. Hopefully, it'll get out via DSP. Oh, we've got a question. Yay. Okay, Jocelyn, go ahead if you want to type it or say it. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. Thank you so much for hosting this town hall. I like to tune in and to see what's happening at UC Berkeley. I work at the Basic Needs Center as a CalFresh undergraduate lead. I do want to share out, there's this event that we're hosting on Monday, April 11th at 11 a.m. available for undergrad and graduate students. We're going to host a CalFresh clinic, and we're going to provide free lunch. And so I'll post a link, but I know that anyone who's part of DSP and meets the income requirement is eligible for CalFresh. So I just do want to share that out to the DSP community, that we're always here to support any student or graduate student or PhD student if they want to apply to CalFresh. We offer one-on-one and also, the CalFresh clinics. So just thank you for that time for me to share that out.
Thank you. Yes. Anybody else have anything they want to share before we kind of wrap it up and call it a night?
So I do want to ask, how can the ASCUC Disabled Student Commission support y'all? I know we're approaching the end of the semester, and we just want to make sure our community is is prepared with other resources. They do need to succeed before finals. So your time is now if you want to give constructive advice or criticism of the commission, we welcome that.
And if no one can think of anything to bring up to Carlos now, feel free to reach out to him or to Abby. with any of your questions, concerns. You can also reach out to Rosa. And there's Abby's contact info, the dsc@asuc.org.
And I wonder if, we can maybe point this a little bit towards Danya and Fab, like, what are ways we can collaborate to make sure this change? Is there anything that we can do to be part of this and push things forwards more than we already are?
Well, I'll say Dania and I are here messaging each other back and forth, amazed at all the work that you all are doing. So exactly what you're doing is what you should continue to do. And I think it's more a question for us. How do we structure ourselves so that we're meeting you all where the work is happening and where the innovation is happening? And so that's really what I'm thinking about now is, and that's why I say, gotta have someone from DSP here, gotta have someone from our immediate office, whether it be myself or the incoming chief of staff or Dania herself. One of us has to be at these meetings so that we're hearing, what's happening, what needs to happen, and then what is our role in moving that along.
That feels so good. Thank you for saying that. And I purposely wrote in the town halls into the grant. So they will continue to happen. And I that's like my dream would be for that. So that's exciting to hear. And it's great to have, all of you, all staff that are, here in this space. This is really the point of it, collaboration for the greater good. And I'm gonna hand it to Lisa because I think might have something to share.
I know we have a question here from, I think it's a student who, and maybe someone else on here might have some advice. It's a student who's been diagnosed with ADHD and current sophomore. I currently have a 3.2 GPA and know that a double major that I really want to do mandates a 3.5 GPA minimum, but I was diagnosed at the start of my fourth semester. Is it too late for me? What disability related help can I get? I worry that even if I got a 4.0 GPA for all 4 semesters and I need to be admitted to the double major before the 8th semester, I would barely scrape past the cap. I should have been diagnosed early. Sorry, my mic isn't working. Does anybody have any advice? I mean, I know like the go-to is, have you contacted your specialist, but with the backlog and everything, does anybody have any suggestions or support that maybe we can pass along?
So I'm wondering the same thing about is there a way for her like for DSP and LNS to do something jointly, like text them, like email them like individually, and then join forces. I wonder if that's a policy like problem that we could refer you to our student advocate's office, because it seems like that may involve academic policy and DSP policy jointly. So probably it is a like SAO type problem. I don't know, Abby, Rosa, what do you think? Is that an SAO jurisdiction problem?
And I just want to say that the student has said that they're in the engineering department. So I don't know if that's different than, yeah, that's the College of Engineering, not LNS.
I was thinking about the student advocate's office. I'm not sure if being able to help waive those requirements is within their jurisdiction. But I'm wondering if you have reached out to before, and if not, I can get their information and put it in the chat. But I think that's like a really, yeah, just want to validate like late diagnosis and like kind of how the policies are currently set up. It's not really, there's no way to like retroactively account for that like systemically, but like maybe you could get a personal exemption for that. I'm not sure though.
Do you do you have a DSP specialist that you're working with? Because ideally, you know, they would be an advocate along with the student advocate's office, but I do feel like this would fall under the realm of your DSP specialist. And, you know, squeakiest wheel gets the grease. So, you know, following up multiple times if you haven't been able to get in contact, unfortunately, might be the way to go. I also would really recommend looking at the student advocate's office and finding support there. But I think you have a strong case. And I know that they have been willing to work with students with these, you know, kind of extenuating circumstances. So it's not unprecedented, at least if that gives you, you know, a little bit of, you know, there is that wiggle room. So yeah, would offer that to you.
Yeah, and like our like SAO rep, like Aaron Harn might be like a good source for like this. So like I'll reach out to them and see if Aaron could help you like get into SAO and how SAO could be a resource. So yeah, that's good that we have a direct collaboration with SAO.
Okay, and we have Ken made a comment, head to Engineering Student Services Center on the second floor of Bechtel Hall for advice. There are many help counselors there in the back room, tutoring center. And yeah, your specialists as well should be able to, I mean, that's going to be a key piece of it as well, if any letters or documentation is needed. And feel free to check in with us here. You know, if we think of anything else, you know, we're happy to help as well. Does anybody have any other questions? I'm not trying to rush us along, but we're getting close to 8 o'clock and want to be mindful of everyone's time.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had a question. Is the engineering EECS, EECS? Is that EECS? I only know it as a acronym.
EECS is electrical engineering and computer science. It's a major.
Is this what we're talking about right now? This, because there are some really like supportive folks in EECS, I know, in terms of campus advisors. Got it. Okay, good to know.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was a double major or not. Kind of like is the middle one for that, but
This is just an example of how much information one would need to know. Well, we're getting to the end here and want to be mindful again of everyone's time. I know finals are around the corner, end of the academic year. And sorry, that's my dog. And are we thinking we want to have another town hall before the end of the academic year?
Yes, absolutely. So I am, ideally, I think it would be the beginning of May, but yeah, like probably RRR week. Yeah, to be realistic about it. Yeah.
So remind me of what those dates are.
So thinking that first week of May is gonna have to be, unfortunately, I can't do that Wednesday, but we can figure it out. It would be great if folks that are still on this call, like, if you can share the agenda and lists or notes with your communities, that would be fantastic, just so folks have, there's the agenda with some notes, the information that we shared. I'll be adding in this recording by tomorrow with captions, and it'll be on that doc as well. But really appreciate everyone being here today. I know it's a rough time in the semester and life in general. Like, I feel like we don't talk enough about that, like there is a war happening right now. And so just want to appreciate all of the time that you're taking to be in community, because we have such limited time, and I think we all operate on some level of crypt time, and that is, something we want to honor. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you for being in community, and for my fantastic team that we all work so closely together, and it's just it would be impossible to do any of this work without our team. So very thankful.
Thank you, Rosa. All right, well, it's a wrap. Done.
We done. Out.
So we'll send some information out when the next meeting will be, but it sounds like RRR week, not Wednesday. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, or Friday, and I'm sure Friday is not going to be happening for some people. So we'll put out the information as soon as we can. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And for everyone, doing the work that you guys do.
Really, yeah, thank you. Everyday interactions and just elevating these needs are so important. So
yeah,
appreciate you.
Stay healthy, everyone. Good luck with finals coming up. And there's contact info to reach out if you need support. There's a few of us on here that have shared our contact info, so don't hesitate to reach out. All right, that's it. We can stop recording, and good night, everyone.